Over the last years, the amount of sanction legislation, rules and regulations, restrictions on the trade that you can do with countries, individuals, and companies has increased massively. And it led a lot of companies to ask questions like, well, how do I comply with sanctions? And what about sanctions in different countries? A country that has a little bit of sanctions versus countries that have a lot of sanctions. How do I navigate this complex web of regulations when it comes to sanctions compliance? And does it mean that whenever sanctions are imposed, I should cease trading altogether? In fact, the moment I see a country being sanctioned, boom, I'm out. Is that a prudent approach? Well, there are lots of debate that we could be having, but if we bring it down to the basics, we need to know what the steps are that companies can do in-house in order to prepare for trading in a less secure, more volatile world where sanctions are the bread and butter of countries wishing to instigate a change in behavior of the leaders, I suppose, or certain people in certain countries. So we have designed a high-level overview training of under 30 minutes that talks about the practical steps that you can take in your company to prepare an effective sanctioned compliance program. We won't talk about the specifics of a country. We will limit this presentation so that it's bite-sized and easily digestible to the essential elements that you can start implementing right now in your company. So if you are interested in trading more, trading faster, and not shying away from exploring what is legally possible when it comes to trading with countries for which there are regulations in force, then why not come onto this training? Let me dig a little deeper right now in what we will cover in this course. I have moved over here to the top right corner. Just to give you a chance to look at the screen, this is what the training is called: Sanctions Compliance, How to Trade Successfully Around the World. 10 top tips discussed. And you heard that right. We are going to talk about top 10 tips, and that's it. We're not going to go into long, granular details of every sanctions regime. No, we're going to be focused and we're going to be to the point. So to be more specific, here's what we're going to cover. It is an introductory course. It is a high-level understanding that you're going to get. So if you are just exploring what sanctions are and what you should be doing in your company, this is the course for you. If you've been working with sanctions for 10, 15 years and you're an expert, this is not the course for you. The critical concept of sanctions controls is the key focus. 10 tips, 10 ideas that have been developed by those that work in sanctions and have implemented sanction controls in companies are part of this training, are the core element of this training, in fact. We're going to go through each of the steps one by one, and we're going to discuss it. I'll give you my view on these 10 steps and how you can go about implementing them in your company. And besides, this is regardless if you have a small company or a multinational large company with lots of subsidiaries or sister companies. The concept is the same. The implementation is different, right? So if you have these 10 top tips, then you will implement that appropriate for the countries that you are sending goods to, but more importantly, for the size of your company and the industry that you're in. So As I said, this is not country specific, which is pretty neat because then it applies to every country and every company and every industry affected by sanctions. So there are only two things we're going to talk about. In fact, we're going to go through the very basics. What are sanctions? Why does sanction compliance matters? And what are the consequences of non-compliance? And then we're going to go straight into the 10 recommendations you can take for your company to prepare a program and control program, a effective sanctions compliance program. So are you ready to dig a little deeper and look at the things we're going to talk about? Well, the course content, look, I've just said it to you, so I'm not going to repeat again. What are sanctions? Why is it essential to comply with sanctions regulations? What are the consequences of non-compliance? And then our top 10 tips so that you don't need to write this down because this is a recording. So you can pause it and just look at it and think about it and then repeat sections that you want to see again. And I'm going to draw some final thoughts, some conclusions on what we've discussed. So you are ready? Shall we start? 10 top 10 tips and a bit of intro, and you're on your way. Under 30 minutes. Ready? Go. Now, with these 10 steps from 5, take all of this together, and you have the foundations of an effective sanctions compliance program. Now, of course, this is just the beginning. This is just the start. But it is important, as it says here, that you have a well-defined set of actions, and that will allow you to stay clear of any potential adverse impacts that may arise from the implementations of sanctions. And if you set up these systems, you can effectively shield your business from compliance issues. Yes. So there you have it. What are sanctions? Why do sanctions matter? What about non-compliance? And your top tips. I hope this has been useful. I would have loved to have a training like this when I started out. But hey, we're here. We did it. And I would like to thank you for paying attention. Now, there's so much more to explore in sanctions and export controls, and I can't wait for us to meet again, to discuss sanctions, export controls, customs compliance, compliance in general. Hey, if you have a suggestion of what you want to see, why don't you write me? Why don't you hit me up on socials? Why don't you let me know what you want to hear about? And I'm happy to record another video. Now, this is all I've got time for, and I hope it's been useful. Let me know what you think. All the best. Bye-bye.